The East St. Louis family massacre. What we know so far. In East St. Louis, Illinois, over the course of about a week this July, 5 members of the same family were shot to death, not all at once, not in one place. Investigators say the killings unfolded across days and across 3 separate locations, ending on a Sunday afternoon. Police say it wasn't random, it was targeted. A family hunted one person at a time. And when it was over, the 2 people in handcuffs were teenagers. One of them, prosecutors say, belonged to the very family that had just been destroyed. Before we go further, everyone charged in this case is presumed innocent unless until proven guilty in a court of law. Everything you're about to hear comes from police statements, prosecutors, and court filings, and where a claim is an allegation, we will say so plainly. One of the 2 accused is a 15-year-old juvenile. Out of legal caution, we are not naming her in this video, even though some outlets have. East St. Louis sits on the Illinois side of the Mississippi River, directly across the water from St. Louis, Missouri. It's a city that has carried more than a share of hardship. It's also a tight-knit place where families run deep and everybody seems to know everybody. That closeness is part of what made this case land the way it did, because when the violence started, it didn't move through strangers, it moved through one family tree. Take a moment for who was lost, because they were a family. Patricia May, 74 years old, the grandmother. Cherie May, 49. Devin May, 24. Quentin Thompson, 21. And Shania Thompson, 25. 2 generations wiped out. Grandmother, aunt, and the young adults who should have had their whole lives ahead of them. 2 more relatives were shot and survived, left to carry both their wounds and the memory of what happened. One of the most chilling details is the timeline. This was not a single explosion of violence. According to the charges, the deaths were spread out. Prosecutors say Cherie May was killed first earlier in the month. Days later, Devin May and Patricia May. And then, on that Sunday, Shania and Quentin Thompson. In all, investigators say the pair targeted 7 people, and 5 of them did not survive. A week of killing, 1 family, allegedly planned from the start. The locations tell their own story. Investigators tie the violence to the Samuel Gompers complex, to a home near 39th and Summit, and to Jones Park, 3 separate places. This is the detail that separates this case from an ordinary shooting. The coordination it would take to move from place to place over days, finding victims where they lived and gathered. Prosecutors argue that pattern is not chaos. They argue it's a plan. The end came that Sunday afternoon. Illinois State Police troopers stopped a vehicle and took 2 teenagers into custody at Frank Holton State Park. What detectives say they found inside that vehicle, and what they say the 2 had been planning long before that day, would turn a mass shooting into one of the most disturbing cases the region has seen in years. Prosecutors named the 2 suspects as 16-year-old Jamir Davis and his 15-year-old girlfriend. Davis is charged as an adult in St. Clair County, and this is where the case takes its hardest turn. His girlfriend, according to police, was not an outsider to the victims. She was part of the family. The people killed, investigators say, were her own relatives, her grandmother, her aunt, her siblings. So how does a teenage couple end up accused of something like this? According to relatives and investigators, the answer starts with the relationship itself. The family, they say, had tried to keep the 2 apart. They disapproved of the pairing, and they tried to separate them. Prosecutors allege that instead of breaking up, the couple made a decision that they would be together no matter what it cost, and that they would remove the people standing in the way. Court filings describe messages between the 2, exchanged over Instagram, back and forth conversations, prosecutors say, about who they blamed and what they intended to do. In one exchange described in the filings, Davis allegedly wrote about harming a relative, and his girlfriend allegedly answered that she was willing. In another, one of them allegedly wrote about being ready to lose their whole family to be together. A relative told reporters the couple had made a kind of list. Cases like this one increasingly turn on a new kind of evidence. Not fingerprints, not a weapon alone, but a digital trail. Prosecutors say the couple's own words, typed into a messaging app and saved on their phones, may become the backbone of the state's case. In the age of social media, intentions get written down. Deleted messages can be recovered. A conversation meant to be private can end up read aloud in a courtroom. If these filings are accurate, this is a case where the alleged plan left a paper trail of its own making. And here's the part that haunts this case. Family members say the warning signs were not hidden. According to the girl's mother, she went to the police before the killings. She reported that her handgun had gone missing and that she suspected her own daughter had taken it. She says, told them about the threatening messages, about the list. The family knew something might be coming. What no one knew was when, or where, or how to stop it. That missing handgun matters, because investigators say it became the murder weapon. The gun used to kill 5 members of this family, according to police, was the mother's own stolen firearm, allegedly taken from inside the home. A weapon that was reported missing in a warning that came before the bloodshed, and then prosecutors say used to carry it out. There's also the matter of the vehicle. Among the 12 counts against Davis is aggravated vehicular hijacking. Prosecutors allege that during the spree, he took a 2015 white Chevrolet Traverse by force. It's one more piece of what investigators described as a moving, escalating crime carried out over days rather than minutes. The charges filed against Davis reflect the scale of what prosecutors are alleging: 5 counts of first-degree murder, 1 for each life lost, 2 counts of attempted murder for the survivors, aggravated battery, aggravated vehicular hijacking, unlawful use of a stolen firearm. and a charge of dismembering a human body, 12 counts in total. The case against the 15-year-old girl is being handled differently. It begins in juvenile court, but prosecutors are weighing whether to move it up into adult court given the severity of what's alleged and her alleged role in the plot. It's a decision that could reshape the rest of her life, and it is one of the central questions still hanging over this case. Charging a 16-year-old as an adult is one of the most serious decisions a prosecutor can make. It means that if convicted, Davis faces the full weight of the adult system, not the rehabilitative path that juvenile court is designed around. It's a debate that has followed cases like this for decades. At what age does the law stop seeing a child and start seeing the defendant capable of the worst? Under Illinois law, certain serious charges against older teenagers can be moved into adult court, while younger juveniles usually start in the juvenile system. That's why these two teens, accused in the same alleged plot, are being treated differently under the law, one already charged as an adult, the other in juvenile proceedings for now. The justice system has always struggled with these cases. It has to weigh the severity of what's alleged against the science of a still developing teenage mind. There are no easy answers, only hard decisions, and a community waiting to see how they're made. At his first court appearance, Davis was ordered held in custody. The judge found he presented what the court called a real and present danger to the community. Under Illinois law, there was no bond to set. The state eliminated cash bail under the Safety Act, so the hearing wasn't about money. It was about whether a 16-year-old accused of killing 5 people should walk free while he awaits trial. The judge said no. Lost in the horror of 5 deaths are the 2 who lived. 2 more relatives were shot during the spree and survived, hospitalized as the case moved into court. They are witnesses to something almost impossible to describe, the loss of their own family members, allegedly at the hands of one of their own. Their recovery and their testimony may shape everything that comes next. This did not land on an easy place. East St. Louis has spent decades fighting economic decline and the kind of violence that comes with it. It is a community that has buried too many of its young people already, and one that has also fought fiercely to hold itself together. That's the backdrop here. A family massacre allegedly carried out from within in a town that has seen more than a share of grief and keeps finding the strength to mourn anyway. For East St. Louis, the grief has been immediate and public. 5 members of one family gone. The kind of loss that ripples through an entire neighborhood. Neighbors, relatives, and friends have been left searching for a reason that may never fully make sense. And underneath the shock is a harder question this community is being forced to ask. It's the question everyone asks and the hardest one to answer. How do 2 teenagers allegedly arrive at a place where killing a family becomes a plan they carry out together? Investigators and psychologists have long noted that in some cases, 2 people can pull each other towards something neither might have done alone, an intensity that shuts out everyone else. We are not here to diagnose anyone. That's for a courtroom and for experts under oath. But the alleged dynamic in this case, a couple who allegedly decided the world was against them, is one that people who study violence will be examining for a long time. If the allegations are true, the signs were there: a stolen gun, reported, messages, seen, a warning, delivered, and still 5 people died. That is the part that will stay with people long after the headlines fade. Not just how 2 teenagers allegedly reached this point, but how a family that sensed the danger could not stop it. It's a question about warning signs and about how we answer them before it's too late. As the legal machinery turns, it's easy for the people at the center to disappear behind the charges and the hearings. So say their names one more time. Patricia May, Cherie May, Devin May, Quentin Thompson, Shania Thompson, a grandmother, an aunt, 3 young lives. They were not statistics and they were not a headline. They were one family, and whatever a courtroom eventually decides, that is the loss that will not be undone. From here, the case belongs to the courts. Davis is being held, charged as an adult. The 15-year-old's case will move through juvenile proceedings while prosecutors decide on the transfer. And the allegations, the messages, the alleged list, the recovered evidence, all of it will have to be tested in front of a judge where allegation meets proof. Every hearing will bring a little more of the record into the light. Cases like this do not resolve quickly. There will be hearings, motions, and the slow, deliberate work of a system that is built to move carefully when the stakes are this high. Evidence will be challenged. The messages will be scrutinized. Decisions about the 15-year-old will be argued. It could be many months, even longer, before anything like a trial. We'll be following it the whole way, and we'll bring you the facts as they're confirmed, not the rumors and not the speculation. We'll keep following this case as it moves through the system, and we'll bring you the updates as the charges are put to the test. If you want to follow along, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. And take a moment to remember the 5 who were lost: Patricia, Cherie, Devin, Quentin, and Shania. Rest in peace. This has been Crime Town TV.